Hello and welcome. This is a new channel called Thrust Curve. This is a channel where we only post videos about rockets. This is a video taken from our old channel called 8D. Hope you enjoy it and please subscribe. Hey and welcome to 8D. Today we're going to talk about ISRO's satellite launch vehicle, also called SLV, which was India's first orbital class rocket. So let's get right in. So the SLV-3 or the Satellite Launch Vehicle 3 was India's experimental satellite launch vehicle, which was an all-solid 4-stage rocket weighing 17 tons with a height of 22 meters, just able to put a 40 kilogram payload into a 500 kilometer low Earth orbit. But what does that mean? I mean, you might be asking, what does it mean? Well, to look into it, we need to go to the past and look at why ISRO wanted to develop a satellite launch vehicle in the first place, and look at what made them consider the SLV as their first rocket. So let's go back to the 1980s, where ISRO had already launched their first satellite called Aryabhatta, which was indeed India's first satellite. Aryabhatta was launched on April 16, 1975 on board a Russian Cosmos 3M rocket. This bad boy. So India did not want to rely on other countries like America or Russia to launch their experimental satellites. So they started development of their own rocket, which led to the SLV. The SLV was a solid rocket booster consisting of 4 stages, which means it had 4 tiny rockets stacked on top of each other with an aerodynamic fairing on the front, with the payload at the tippy top, payload which means a satellite, and fins at the back for stability. It was basically like this rocket, but like much bigger. So the SLV could put a 40 kilogram payload into a 500 kilometer orbit, which means it could not even lift me if it wanted to. But it was still enough for young ISRO though, because they only wanted to launch Rohini, the RS-1 satellite, into orbit. The SLV had an open loop guidance system with a stored pitch program to steer itself into space. What this means is that the flight computer had a predetermined flight trajectory which it had to follow and could not take inputs from the onboard sensors to correct its path in flight if something would have to happen. So simply what this means is that the rocket's flight computer could not take feedback from the sensors in case something wrong happened, like in case something tipped it over. And if something bad would happen, the flight computer would not do anything and the rocket would crash. So this is different from modern rockets which use a closed feedback loop system, which means the rocket can take input from the onboard sensors and correct its path in flight. So let's look at the launches of the SLV. There were 4 total launches with 1 failure, 1 partial failure, but the other 2 were complete successes. The first failure resulted due to a faulty valve in the rocket, which made the rocket turn and fall right back into the Bay of Bengal. Faulty valve. This makes me think it had TVC or the SI-TVC used in the PSLVs. Here's a picture of the TVC working on the NASA SLS booster, the solid rocket booster on the sides anyway. So I cannot find much data about the stabilization method used on the SLV, but I'm pretty sure it either used thrust vector controlling for pitch and yaw and fins for roll, or it might just have used really big fins, as the first stage, also called the HS-9 booster, was used to launch the RLV-TD rocket, and it had pretty big fins like you can see here. So you might be thinking, what is thrust vector controlling? Well, there are plenty good videos about it online, but I'm just giving a gist here. I'm using my GSLV here as an example. Imagine this is the nozzle. The rocket is flying straight, and if there's a force on the top pushing it towards the right, well, the nozzle will bend the other side and push it towards the left due to torque. You could look it up online. And basically the SLV used the same method and its nozzle was vectored. So let's talk about the type of propellant used on the SLV. The SLV, being a solid rocket booster, used a solid propellant. The first 2 stages of the SLV used something called P-band, which is also something my friends would say if I started talking too much rocket stuff. Whew. P-band stands for polybutadiene acrylonitrile. I can't even pronounce it. It's like a French last name. It's up on the screen. It's actually a very common propellant used on many other rockets like the Ariane 5. The 3rd and the 4th stage, however, use something called HEF or high energy fuel. The fourth stage was responsible for putting the payload into orbit and burned for about 33 seconds. Since it was the 1980s and we're talking about ISRO here, which hardly releases any information about the launch, there isn't much footage of the SLV available. These are the only things I could find online, and you can look at them while I stare into the eyes of desolation.
Success of this venture stabilizes India's stature as a member of the Senate
of Orbit from Command and Ground Station. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for watching this video. My name is Pranav Gayatri. You were watching 8D. I had a lot of fun making this video. I just love rockets. Don't you too? Well, if you want to see similar stuff like this, I'm doing an entire series on all the rockets ISRO ever had and will have in the future, like the GSLV and the PSLV. So please consider subscribing and like this video if you actually liked it, and share it to someone who will like it too. This has been great. My name is Pranav, and remember, space is for all of us.